Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 38 of the UTR Pro Tennis Tour podcast. My name is James Mackay. I'm the Director of Player and Collegiate Development at UTR Sports. As you know, the UTR Pro Tennis Tour is the go-to tour for rising tennis professionals across the world. Emergency podcast here. Emergency podcast. I'm bringing on a legend of the game, a legend of college tennis, who knows way more about the sport than you do. I can promise you that. His name is Chris Halioris, the founder of College Tennis Ranks. Chris, welcome on.
Hey, great to be here, James. Thanks for having me.
Chris, I would say, does this as a hobby, called maybe side gig. He actually moved a real meeting to be on here today. So, Chris, I really appreciate that.
Not a problem. And yeah, side gig for sure. Still trying to figure out, how to get out of the real job to make this the full-time one, James, because it's way more fun. But yeah, still in the side gig category for the moment.
The reason why this is an emergency podcast is I think one of the most exciting weekends is this weekend right here in college tennis. There's 14 pods, 15 pods, whatever. Winner of each one goes to national indoors. Coaches picked back in June where they want to go. And I just think it's great, right? And it starts in an hour. And I thought about bringing on someone who has so much knowledge of college tennis to what we're going to do is we're going to give our predictions. Each pod will be given a prediction. But before we do that, Chris, tell us what you do. What is College Tennis Ranks?
Yeah, so College Tennis Ranks is a website, right? I mean, I do a lot of social media, other Twitter things, but the backbone of College Tennis Ranks is the website collegetennisranks.com. And really that got started back, obviously you know well, James, but for the people listening that may not, especially if you're not college tennis folks, started back, it's been like 8 years ago now, the online site. And what happened was, I had a nephew who went to Mississippi State, which is why I got to know you well. And when he showed up, I looked at, I looked into the whole ranking system and I saw, oh, there's a published formula. There's, the results, but yet everybody waited until Monday when the rankings came out to go, hey, where are we in the rankings? And I said, but I don't understand. We have all these other sports that have live. Hell, you look at the ATP Tour. The WTA Tour, there's live rankings, right? You can it's right in their own app. You can go, what are they on the published Monday rankings or what are they live based on points they're going to drop, points they're going to pick up, et cetera. I was like, why don't we have the same thing? We know the formula. It's just a matter of getting the data and then we can do it. And so it started with something as simple as that, which was, hey, let's create the sort of up to the minute rankings, if you will. So everybody's not wondering where are we going to be on Monday. And everything just snowballed from there. It quickly got into, well, now that we have these live rankings, coaches said, well, I want to know what's going to happen if we beat so-and-so this weekend. And, if we beat A and A loses to B, what's that do for us? And so all of a sudden we put up this what if calculator, right? That lets you plug in all the results. And then we fed it with all the matchups, all the ranked matchups for the week. So you could just radio button go, yeah, here's all the results, default it to picking all the favorites. Tell me what the rankings are going to be. And there's all kinds of features that just snowballed from there. Now, one of the big things on there that I know a lot of people use is there's a section for all the players with college tennis ties that are playing in the pros now. So you can go out under the pros menu and just say, show me rankings. And it'll give you every player with college tennis that played college tennis, even the ones that are currently still playing. We've got a few ATP level guys like Michael Zhang, and then your Pat and even the ITFs, although it's 1 to 2000, whatever it is that's ranked, it'll show you everybody. You can even look and click the tournament results and it shows you their current tournaments, how they're doing, just all kinds of things out there. But yeah, that's where I got into it about 8 years ago now. And that's what all kicked it all off.
To all college coaches, if you are serious about doing great things in the sport, you need to live on this website. It will show you what you need to do from a scheduling standpoint. It will show you who you need to beat, who you need to avoid losing to in order to achieve your goals. It should be on your laptop at all times, right? Second question, how do you use UTR to do what you do?
So I have a lot of integration with UTR on the website, right? So the first thing you'll notice is if you look at the rankings, there's a teams menu, you can look at teams, there's a card there for every team that'll show you the roster. On that roster, it shows you the UTR of every player. We've got some there, and then on even on the rankings page, right? You've got the UTR Power Six. One of the things that I do slightly differently that will be more evident as the season goes on is, as opposed to the UTR Power Six, which is the ranking, basically the sum of your top 6 UTR players on the roster. I will adjust the rosters to where what's shown on College Tennis Ranks may not match the UTR Power Six, because I use what I'll call a projected lineup. So if a player is in, say your number 1 player is hurt and out, well, they're still going to be in your UTR Power Six, frankly, because they're on the roster and they're on the team. Mine's just a little more live and somewhat subjective, right? Because I'm using what they've played so far, or knowing that a player's hurt and we take them out, and it adjusts it a little. We've also got some really cool tools that still haven't quite been released to the public yet. I know I let you see this last year, but I've got a match predictor function out there that hopefully will get out here early in the dual match season this year for people to play with. It's more of a, I'll call it a toy, but it's very fun for the fans to look at. And what it does is it lets you, much like the compare tool that you have on the UTR site, where you can just look at rosters and it just tells you, this at number 1, you're 0.2 better. Well, I've attempted to take that and turn it into, well, what's the percentage chance that those guys win? And then all the way down the lineup, and as well in doubles. And it calculates percentage at every position and then gives you an overall, hey, team A's 65.5% chance to win this match. And then you can just drag and drop the players in the positions, and it's all based off UTR, doing the forecasted percentages for winning. So some fun things there that we do. But I know people love, and it's obviously still today, it's the most objective way we have to look at the differences between players. So people look at the UTR Power Six. It makes it super easy on my site. If you just go to the teams and it's sortable, and you click UTR at the top, it'll give you top down based off my projected lineups, the UTR for the top 6 players on the projected rosters of every team.
Well, Chris, we appreciate everything you're doing. I personally think it's amazing. I'm sure other coaches can agree with me, so thank you. I was going to ask you a third question, but I'm going to wait till the end. Let's jump in. Let's do it. Chris and I are going to make a prediction for every single pod this weekend based on analysis, UTR, matchups, you name it, right? We're going to try and be as quick as we possibly can. Tune in. Listen to what we have to say. Are you ready?
I'm ready, James. Let's do this.
First pod. We're going to start on the women's side. First pod, we'll start all the way at the top. Georgia, San Diego State, Washington State, and Maryland. Go for it.
New faces for this Georgia team, but just too good. There's no way they don't get out of this region. Still the top-ranked team for a reason. Sure, you lose, anytime you lose a Dasha, it's good, you're losing something, but that team's too good. They're coming out of here, no problem.
I agree with you. I do think there's some good teams in that pod. I'll say, yes, agree as well. There are some new players. And one thing I found out last night is the SEC on the women's side, haven't looked too much into the men's side yet, but the SEC on the women's side is absolutely stacked. The amount of good players in that league this year is incredible. But I will agree with you. I will take Georgia to come through. Next, Texas A&M, Arizona State, TCU, and Michigan State.
Some questions here for me. There's no question I'm taking Texas A&M to come out. They're still a very good team. I don't think Nicole Kieran, from what I'm hearing, I don't think she's going to be playing. I don't think we may not see her this year. A tough one for them, but there's just still too much talent on that team. A&M comes out comfortably.
Texas A&M, depending on Nicole, are currently ranked 6th on Power 6, but if Nicole is not playing, then that will adjust their ranking. I agree with you. Texas A&M come out of there against Arizona State, TCU, and Michigan State. On to the next one. Michigan. This is a good one, I think. Michigan, Vandy, Notre Dame, and Penn. I'm repping them right now, actually. Partner of UTR, Penn Tennis. You had a PTT there last week. What do you think, Chris?
This is the first for the third seed in Michigan. They've got I think it's going to come down to a final here between Michigan and Vanderbilt. And this one could get really tight. And Vanderbilt doesn't have a walkover with Notre Dame either. But I think this one could get really interesting. I will still lean in favor of the home team and Michigan. And I think the strength up top is going to be it. That's going to be what decides this here. When you've got, Piper Charney and Lily Jones, and you got CB Moore on the other side for Vandy. It's man, this is going to be a really, really, really good match. Should that be the match we get? Like I said, Notre Dame could throw a lot of wrinkles in there still. But I'm really looking forward to seeing Celia Belmore and Piper Charney go to battle.
Totally agree as well. I'm going to lean on the home team. Michigan, what are they? Final Four last year. Vanderbilt, very good team, as do Notre Dame. Don't know too much about Penn actually yet, but I'm going to agree with you. I will lean on the home team of Michigan. Next up, North Carolina, Charlotte, Penn State, and Columbia.
Yeah, this is another one of your hosts should sleepwalk through. Nobody even, we didn't talk too much about it, but the way that draft works, right? There's 14 host sites. Then starting with number 15, they get to pick where they want to go to. It took all the way to number 49, Charlotte, before anybody picked on North Carolina. Nobody wanted to see the Tar Heels. They should walk through here. And, the addition of Obi Kajuru this year for them. You got Reese Brantmeyer back and healthy. Picking up Maddie Zampardo, going to be interesting to see if she's playing, I don't know if she's eligible, if she did not play in the last match I saw. But either way, there's just, this team is loaded. They're 10 plus all the way down. The lineup is North Carolina. Too good.
North Carolina currently have a 63.94 Power 6. Very good team. I did actually have the pleasure of going to the North Carolina PTT last week on the men's side and got a chance to just observe very briefly the women's team practicing. I'll tell you what, they were locked in. Absolutely locked in. Everyone was there and they look ready.
Defending NCAA champ Reese Brantmeyer.
Yep, they were all there. They were all ready to go. Big shout out, by the way, to Charlotte women. They are big PTT players, so thank you to the Charlotte women. By the way, Chris, your camera has frozen. If you can turn it off and on again, that would be great. But if it doesn't work, that is absolutely fine also, because it's more about the content we're talking about. Moving on, we are going to go to Duke, Florida Atlantic, and South Carolina, and Miami, Florida. What do you think, Chris?
I really like Duke here, but I think they could get a little testy. I don't think it's going to get too testy. You've got to like anytime you see the regional teams that know each other well, like Duke and South Carolina. That there's some very familiar faces there, but there's just too much talent on this Duke team. And you've got a lot of returners there. There's some good veteran leadership on that team. I think, the only thing that makes me hesitate there is I think seeing a lot of them at NCAAs wasn't the best tournament for them individually in the fall, but coming back together as a team, I think they're going to be in really good shape. I like this Duke team a lot. They should come through just fine.
Yeah, a few things on this pod. FAU, I believe, had some transfers last year. They tend to get some really, really good players. I'm not too sure on where they are right now. I believe they lost 4-3 to Rice last week. But a lot of good players are going that way. And then also Miami, I think they're trending in the right direction. But again, this is massive, incentive for college tennis programs is to try and host. Chris and I have not gone away from a host yet. If you can finish the year top 15, there's a good chance you're going to host for this weekend. And it is so huge to get these matches on your own courts. Agree with you, Chris. I'm taking Duke to advance. Ohio State, Georgia Tech, UC Santa Barbara, and Iowa.
Yeah, another one. I mean, I think, again, we're going in order. So generally those top teams going to be much more favored unless they just lost 3 or 4 seniors the previous year. Not the case here. Luciana Perry, the stalwart for this team here. I like Ohio State a lot. I don't think they're going to get pressured too terribly hard here. They should be just fine and come through in good shape.
Agree. Shout out to Iowa. I'm 50% Tennessee fan and 50% Iowa fan, as my wife's family all live in the Quad Cities, 1 hour to the east of Iowa City. Also, shout out to Georgia Tech, potential PTT host this summer. So good luck, everyone there. I'm also going to take Ohio State. Virginia, USC, Wisconsin, and Rice.
I think this one could get really, really tricky here for the host. It's the first one, I think, where there's a very serious chance. I mean, I think Vandy has a good shot at Michigan, but I think here Virginia is definitely on the ropes with particularly USC. I mean, and even Wisconsin with Sholikova, and they bring in a freshman that she's been playing some really good doubles with. Man, this is a very, very tough region to pick. Always tough to go against those home teams. Also going to have this whole weather thing at play. I hope that doesn't cause any issues. I mean, obviously they're going to be playing indoors regardless, but just the logistics of everything, probably make things a little easier for the home team. But I think this is the first time I want to lean away. The problem is USC, they're not playing a lot of indoor tennis, and that's always tough when those teams come and have to go play indoors. I don't know. You put me on the spot. I did not make a list ahead of time here, James.
Come on, got to go with the gut. Who you got?
I think just because I like USC a lot, but the fact that it's indoors and I'm not ready to go Wisconsin just yet. I don't know about the depth there. They're great up top. I'm not sure on the depth. I'll stick with the home team and give the nod to Virginia, but I'm not going to be shocked at all if they don't come out of here.
Agree. This is a tough one here. By the way, USC by statistics, by UTR, have the best roster in this region. A lot of confusions. I am going to take the Trojans. I hope their travel was easy. I hope they got the preparation that they needed before an absolute major winter storm rips through the United States. I'm hearing rumors of some teams arriving the night before and having to play the next day. Not sure how I feel about that, but safety is obviously first. I'm going to take USC in this one. I will also give a shout out to Wisconsin. Mark Michalika, new head coach there, great friend of mine with one of the best two-handed backhands in college tennis before. So we are going to disagree for the first time, Chris. I'm taking USC. You are taking Virginia. On to Auburn, Nevada, Florida State, and Tulane.
Yeah, I talked about the North Carolina region and how nobody wanted to go there. It took all the way Nevada number 72, the 2 seed, partially because of a regional bias that they got in. They got to pick before Florida State at number 67, but still, that's how far down it took for anybody to want to touch this Auburn team with DJ Bennett, who you go look at UTR. She's not even close to the top UTR on the team anymore. Now with Okatoye, Marner Rafat coming on great. I mean, this team is just absolutely stacked. They should be. I mean, they're going to absolutely sleepwalk through here. Unfortunate for no disrespect to any of the other teams, but they're 9-10 deep at 10 plus UTRs here. And bringing Ash, interesting to me, bringing I haven't even seen the what their lineup's going to be. You got Ashton Bowers, who had originally committed there, then ended up decommitting when the coaching thing happened, went to Texas, left Texas. She's back to Auburn now. And, a player that's probably a top 2 player on any team in the roster in the country. And I don't know if she's even in the lineup, right now with everybody they've got. So it's going to be a fun watch. What Jordan Zabo's done there has been great.
Auburn by UTR are the number 1 team in the country. I agree with your statements. Also, a couple shout outs here to Tulane. They are building a new facility in Audubon Park. Great to hear of a mid-major, great academic institution. And this place is going to be unbelievable. So, new facility in New Orleans, great school, exciting times for Tulane. Florida State, obviously, good PTT host. But I've learned more about women's tennis in the last year and a half than ever before. Auburn's team is very good. I'm also going to take Auburn. Moving on to 15 miles from my house, the Knoxville region, Tennessee, Washington, Pepperdine, and Clemson.
Wow. I mean, so look, you mentioned 15 miles from your house. You can't see it. I'll give you a quick shot, James. I'm repping you today.
Wow.
I mean, I was going to be a guest on the show. I had to sport the Tennessee gear. Compliments of none other than my gracious host here. But
did I give you that shirt?
Yes, you did. It was, and the decision this morning was this the long sleeve or the short sleeve Rocky top, which is a little more stylish, but it's a little too cold for short sleeves here for me. So, I had to go with the long sleeve. But this one, I think, unfortunately, I'm repping the Tennessee shirt. My question, obviously, we just saw the big announcement, Katrina Scott, right? I have no idea.
Huge.
Outside of seeing the announcement of whether she's eligible yet and whether she's playing. I don't know the answer to that. That would change for this weekend. That would change things, I think, in a major way. I'm going to make the assumption for now in this pick based on the assumption that she is not playing. Pepperdine with a great already win under their belts. And first year, I think, full-time, no longer interim coach, Tassilo Schmid, who you probably, I don't know if you were at Tennessee when he was still playing for Mississippi State or if you just missed crossing paths there. But a shout out to Tassie there. I like his Pepperdine team a lot, and I'm going to go with the Waves in this region.
Love it. Chris is taking Pepperdine. I do not believe Katrina is playing this weekend, but I don't also think it's a secret. She is eligible. She's ready to go. Kudos to the Tennessee women's tennis coaching staff. If there's a way, you find it. Also, college tennis and college athletics is changing. To all coaches out there, be willing to get creative to make things work. Katrina will come in, by the way, and be the 3rd best player by UTR to play college tennis this season. Exciting times for the sport. Tennessee, Washington, Pepperdine, and Clemson, I have to rep the Vols. I have to. I am a Tennessee fan. I admit that. If the football team loses, I'm not happy. If the basketball team loses, I am not happy. It's just me. I'm taking Tennessee. They have, by the way, moved up the region here. So this region, I believe, is starting on Friday as well to avoid weather issues. Moving on. This is a good one. Oklahoma, Stanford, Yale, and Memphis.
Yeah, this one, another one that gets really tricky for the hosts. I mean, this looks like it's Oklahoma, Stanford. No disrespect to Yale or Memphis, but those two teams, both certainly UTR top 10. I'm not staring at the rankings, but I know that the top end, the players up and down the lineups here are fantastic. Another one where I think I probably, and I don't honestly like this pick. I would, because it's so close, I'm going to lean to the home team. But I do think that the strength up top for Stanford probably is better. Valerie Glausman to start, but Glausman, Ekstrand, Alyssa Ahn, I just think, gosh, it makes me really want to pick Stanford here. But Oklahoma, they don't even have Julio Garcia Ruiz playing one anymore for them because of what they've brought in. They had Laskovich there, I think, in the last match. They're stacked up top as well, but it's newer to me. But I still think I've got to go with the home team in such a tight toss-up type match, and I'll roll with the Sooners.
I do as well. I think Stanford have a great team. I do think Oklahoma is a tough place to play, especially indoors. It's fast. It's a little bit dark. It's 3-3. You don't really know what's going on either side. I think it's a real home court advantage. So I'm going to take the Sooners indoors there to advance. LSU, UCLA, UCF, and Marshall.
Another very interesting region. Look, LSU is going to be the clear favorite. And we had a sighting coming back off Australian Open qualifying, both Cadence Brace and Kayla Cross playing for them in their last match. You're going to start with those two up top. You're going to be favored. But that being said, and it's at LSU. So it's a home court advantage. UCLA and UCF both nothing to slight. I just think there's too much talent, and they bring Ella McDonald in. Too much talent at the top of this lineup for LSU for them to get pushed. The problems they have, which they experienced last year, are if they're missing one of them or if things don't go well for them up top, it's not a very deep team. So they are highly reliant on the top of the lineup. And so if somebody like a UCLA can manage to do some damage up top, there are some good chances to knock them off. The problem is you just get 2 wins so easily for them and in doubles that it's tough to beat them.
Interesting stat here. By UTR, LSU and UCLA have the best 2 players in their respective conferences. Also, I just cannot believe that LSU have 2 players playing this spring that are both ranked in the top 200 WTA. I mean, that is absolutely insane. The level of college tennis is just so high.
Yeah, and they both played last year, and both sort of playing Kayla Cross more so, kind of the outplaying pro tournaments. But yeah, it just speaks to the level. We've had this for a little while in the men's game, and we're just getting to the point now where a lot of the women are realizing, hey, I can go play college and still play my pro events at the same time, and we're getting more of those sort of ranked players on the women's side as well in the game now. It's just, but yeah, to have 2 WTA top 200 players on your roster, it's insane.
I think we can't forget about UCF here. I think Brian does a really good job, and let's not underestimate the Knights, the Golden Knights. I think they're going to be ready. So, but I'm going to lean on LSU here. I actually think LSU in my book, based on stats, are potential national title contenders. But moving on, good one, very good one. NC State, Ole Miss, Florida, Boise State.
Yeah, what a fascinating region this is. It particularly for me with Florida. I mean, it's a complete upside down turn. They basically kept, I think, Dobnarova, and that was it on the team, and basically retooled, dispatched. And not only did Per Nilsson coming in last year, not only did he flip the team upside down, he ended up bringing in, Axel Damien's another coach this year over from South Carolina. That we talk about the signing of some of these ladies that have been playing pro tennis. Emily Siebold for Florida now on the roster. You bring Paskauskas over from NC State, which makes that alone makes things super interesting. And we've already had her play one of the Florida players at NCAAs. But it's the problem for me here is it's the same things you brought up, like Stanford going to Oklahoma. For a team like Florida that doesn't play a lot of indoor tennis to go on the road and then play on fat, quick courts at NC State, it's really tough. And I really want to pick the Gators, but having seen nothing of them, they haven't even played a team match, I don't believe yet. So I don't even know, like, is Siebold playing for them? Is she playing one? What do they look like? We have this January freshman problem where you bring in #1 junior player in the world and they're still not great when they start just because they're new to college tennis. We have so many new pieces here for Florida. I'm not going to go there. I'll stick with the Wolfpack, but trust me, I'm not going to be surprised at all if Florida comes out of this region.
Florida, UTR Power 6 are 10, and guess who's 11? NC State. They are separated by 0.19 of a point. I am going to go with the Gators. I'm taking them. I think they're ready. I think they go in there and advance through the region. NC State, very, very, very difficult place to play. Indoor facility, it's tight in there. I think it's on 4 courts still, maybe 5.
Yeah, I think they'll play on 4 because it's really like a 4.5 court. There's not quite a full 5th there to play. Not enough room to be used, so they'll play it on 4.
Got it. Shout out Ole Miss and Boise State, great partners of UTR. Good luck to you both. Texas, Cal, Baylor, and Arizona. What do you think?
I mean, I think Cal is an interesting team. Texas coming off an upset loss at home to Pepperdine, so they got something that something to prove, if you will. I do like this Cal team, and I think they could pose a lot of problems for Texas. And this is an outdoor site, so Cal is not going to have the problem of needing to go play indoors somewhere against a top team. So I think they could pose problems. I think Texas, though, is still going to be a little hungry after that upset loss to Pepperdine. And, they're really good. Carmen Araya has been great. I like the top of their lineup. I'm going to take Texas to come through. I won't be surprised if Cal gives them a heck of a shot, assuming Cal gets by Baylor on day 1.
Agree. I'm going to take Texas. I think Arizona, Ryan Stotland's doing a tremendous job down there. I also think Baylor have a great team this year. I watched one of their players play against the Stanford girl, Valerie, in Orlando, and she was very good. So I think both teams are going to be good. I don't actually know too much about Cal, but I'm going to lean on Texas because I think they are too good and they're at home. Last one on the women's side, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, Wichita State, and Long Beach State. So a lot of states there.
Yeah. This is another interesting region where there are some questions, and the questions really are: is everybody playing and in the lineup for Oklahoma State? Because if they are, they have to be the favorite. It's obviously Texas Tech is the host here, but you bring Olivia Linser over from UCF. You've got the return, like, is Komar there? You've got Rosemary Nijkamp, Payray back from that brutal injury she suffered the year that they were hosting NCAAs and didn't end up making it there. Melissa Urcon, who was their #1. I'm not staring at current UTRs, James, but I think she's probably 4th on the roster in UTR, and she was their #1 player last year. This team's absolutely stacked. Gracie Epps, probably 7th, and she was outstanding for them. I have to say, Oklahoma State comes out of here. I think even down one of those top 6, they should still be favored in this region. The thing that gives me a little concern here is they're getting voted 10th in the coaches poll. You tell me they're probably 3rd, 4th in UTR Power 6 right now. So for the coaches to vote them 10th, I sort of feel like either they're just lazy and working off last year's rankings, which tends to be the case, or they know something, and we haven't seen them play a match where we had to get a good look at what that lineup will be. So maybe they're not all playing. That's the only thing to give me pause, but I'll take my chances and roll with the Cowgirls here.
I'm going to take them as well. I think based on what I'm seeing lineup-wise, I think they are ready to go. Shout out Jacob Edens, new head coach at Wichita State. Also to the Texas Tech coaching staff. I met them at SMU for the first time. I truly think they do a tremendous job Believe they won the conference last year. Coach very well, very hard. I think they do well. So I'm also going to take Oklahoma State to advance. I think they have too much talent and they're ready. We are moving on to the men's side. We will try and move quicker. Apologies, but I hope you all enjoying what we have to say. Wake Forest, Vanderbilt, North Carolina, Virginia Tech.
I'm going to say Wake comes out, but that first day match between Vandy and North Carolina, fascinating to me. Scotty Brown doing some great things, getting that Vandy program going. North Carolina, a bunch of new faces, really trying to get back to where they were in the, from the Blumberg, Rinky, and prior days. They look good as well, but Wake should just be too much for everybody here in the end, but it could get interesting. Wake walks out.
I'm calling it now. I think Wake might run it back and go back-to-back national titles. Based on what I saw last night against Texas, wow, what a team. Anyway, I'll say this as well. When there's a rivalry between Wake Forest and North Carolina and it's heated, I think it's great for college tennis. I'm pulling hard for the Tar Heels to get back to that superiority of greatness. I don't think I can go away from Wake. I think Wake are going to advance and move on to national indoors. TCU, Georgia, Boise State, and Tulsa. What do you think?
Lot of new faces for TCU. They always seem to find a way. You got Oliver Bonding, one of the top juniors coming in here. And then you bring back just a ton of talent. Yes, you lose guys like Jack Pennington Jones, Louis Maxted, Pedro Vives. They just retool. The talent is there. I think they come out of here. I think they come out somewhat comfortably, but I will not be shocked in the least if the Georgia Bulldogs step up and really give them a fit here. That Georgia team has some talent. They've got some guys, a lot of transfers here, but as Kara, who had transferred and was there last year, finally playing for them this year, I think that team, you bring in Will Jansen, I think they've got a lot of talent. I don't know if it's a little early for them to gel as a team or not. Jansen looked really good at NCAAs, but I still think TCU, there's just so much talent. When you're playing a guy like Albert Pedrico still down at 5, it's unbelievable. That there's just too much talent on that roster to get away from TCU.
Shout out Boise State, third week in August. PTT is coming to the great city of Boise. We're going to absolutely blow it up. Player party, hospitality, you name it. Put that one in your calendar. TCU, wasn't sure. Followed a little bit against Tennessee when they played the other week, and I think they're ready. I think that team is top 5. I'll say to Georgia's success, I think it comes down to the top. I think it comes down to Jansen and Arda that will define who they are this year, because both are great players. They're playing at the top of the lineup for a storied SEC program. Let's see what they've got. I'm going to lean on the host as well, Chris, and take TCU to advance. Texas, South Florida, Washington, UNCW.
Don't think Texas gets a ton of fight here. USF is a very, very, very good team. Got a guy like Hugo Carr at the top of the lineup that was outstanding. I think he lost 2 singles matches last year. And they go 4-3 in a loss to Florida to open. Put a little asterisk on that as the top 2 players in Jeremy Jin and Billy Gannison not playing in that match, but still quite a fight for USF. They're good. They're not Texas good. So I think Texas still manages to come out, and they really need it. They've played some tough matches to start the season. They've lost to Virginia. They've lost to Wake. It's time for them to, get things moving in the right direction and get ready for indoors.
Yep, I got to take Texas here. I agree. South Florida did a great job. Also, shout out to Washington, first ever UTR PTT coming to the Pacific Northwest in the summer. Raheem, good luck, all the best. But I have to lean on Texas. By the way, I did watch a little bit of them against Wake. There's some new faces on that team. And I think that they have obviously great talent. I think, coaches might not like me saying this or whatever, but I think they can also agree with me. I think they have work to do, right? Which is a good thing because it's January, but they do have talent. But I thought last night would have been closer. Maybe it was because it was indoors. Maybe I'm assuming they planned to play indoors, or maybe it was the weather. I don't know. But yeah, I thought it was going to be an absolute barn burner over 4-3, but it didn't really turn out that way.
Yeah, I think that's one of those games where I made the comment earlier about the January freshman. It's just, everybody thinks, but you look on paper at a kid and his junior results and how good they are and what their UTR is, and you just go, oh, Forger's a 13-6 or Ivanovsky's a 13-8. They should just win no problem. And then Forger comes out first match against Incarnate Word, who's got a stud at number 1, by the way, and loses that match to Incarnate Word at 1, even though they beat him 6-1. But it's just when these kids come in, especially the foreigners that don't know college tennis, they don't understand that this isn't a tennis match where you just walk out and it's you against the guy on the other side of the net. It's you against the other guy on the side of the net, the entire bench, the entire crowd. And it's not like, playing a futures tournament here. It's an actual team sport. And it just takes those guys time to get into it. And they're starting to. Ivanovsky played against Wake. That was his first singles match, by the way. He had played doubles, hadn't played singles yet. So he's finally in the singles lineup. But it takes a little time for those January freshmen to gel and come get, acclimated to college tennis. And I think there's some of that going on here with the Texas guys. They'll be fine come May, but it's early now.
Correct. Very hard to adjust to college tennis in the spring. Stanford, Rice, Oregon, Utah.
Oh, Stanford. The only questions here are who do we get to see for Stanford this weekend? Is Kyle Kang healthy? Is Samir Banerjee playing? We haven't seen those guys, but we have seen Jagger Leach, newcomer this year, get to play, and you bring in an Alex Chang to this team and return Godzik and Rivera. I mean, there's just too much talent here for Stanford not to come through. They should make it out of here very comfortably.
Stanford 6 on paper by UTR is a 13-5.
Yeah,
going to be a good team, I think. They are ranked number 4 by UTR Power 6. I believe they are going to advance. I'm going to agree with you as well. And I just keep rattling off these teams on the men's side in the ACC. Talking with a coach recently in the conference, the ACC on the men's side is subtly, absolutely stacked as well. The amount of good teams, not only in the middle, like lower third, but also right at the top. It's loaded. So Stanford, I think, are going to advance. Shout out Effie at Rice. PTT Reg close on Monday. We are coming to Houston, middle of the spring. Anytime you get a gap in your schedule, think about hosting. Get your team the matches that they need. Virginia, Michigan, Cornell, Indiana. Shout out Kurt Signetti. What a legend.
Yeah, what a great game that was. I'm closer than you, right across. I'm 8 miles from the Indiana border here where I'm at. So a lot of hoopla in our area for that, and I'm sure it made it down your way as well. But unfortunately for Indiana and everybody else in this region, Virginia is not going to get pressured at all. You've got Michigan Cornell match for Michigan, a blow that Kate decided to turn pro and take his chances in doubles. Kind of putting the hurts on that team for the year. The only interesting thing here, I think, really is that first day match for Virginia is, they're going to get a look at Sam Landau after all the turmoil and everything that happened last year with him at Duke. He's back where he started his career at Indiana. He looked good. I'm looking forward to seeing him play in the kickoff weekend because he was up 6-3, 5-1 on Benito Sanchez Martinez of Mississippi State in that match. And let it get away, unfortunately for him. That 5-1, he lost 6 straight to lose the set, and they got pushed into a third and never finished. But he has looked good early, and so he and Dylan Dietrich should have a nice match. Should that be the matchup we get? But Virginia has been absolutely outstanding, and I can't overstate enough how good they've been, given that Rafa Hodar in December decides he's not coming back. They lose Roy Horovitz probably for the year. I'm not sure, but he hasn't been seen yet, and he may not play this year. And then their last match, Keegan Rice as well out, and they still take care of business. Coach Pedroso is a master at pulling the right strings and getting his guys ready. And there's no question they'll be ready, and they should walk out of here no problem this weekend.
By the way, there's just talking about Rafael Yodar, a basketball player signed to go pro and has now been deemed eligible to come back to college and play college basketball. So my question is, if Yodar goes pro and tennis follows the same rules as basketball, why can't he just come back for the 2027 season if he wants to?
Yeah.
And also,
I'd say it's because he's going to be like 50 in the world and has no reason to.
And also, ruthless family love here from Chris Halioris. His nephew is the assistant or associate head coach for Michigan. Trevor Fauché, great one-handed backhand. Love it. He's not picking you, Trevor. How do you feel about that? I love it.
I'm just glad you didn't put me on the spot and make me pick the match against Cornell. But yeah, Trevor definitely he was the inspiration in the stories I told earlier. That's the guy that I followed through Mississippi State that really ended up getting all the college tennis rank stuff kickstarted. So shout out to Trevor and the Wolverines.
Yep, I'm taking Virginia as well. 4 very good teams in that region: Ohio State, Purdue, Old Dominion, and North Alabama.
Oh, this is nobody wanted to see Ohio State. Purdue at 53 was the first team to draft them. Purdue had a good up-and-coming team, and then their top player, Krivakapich, decides to go in the portal as soon as he does. He played NCAAs, but has now disappeared from the roster. A tough blow for Jeff Young and the Boilermakers there. Just no competition for Ohio State here. The thing to watch in this region, and we've joked about it a lot leading in, is how many different rosters is Ty Tucker going to play this year? Because you go look at that roster and the UTRs of the guys on that team, they are absolutely stacked. The biggest question between Lilov and Palavestra, the other incomer, Ty loves to pull the redshirting card when he's got a good team. He's got a team that he doesn't necessarily need them. So unless he thinks they're going to be absolute contributors in the top 6 or in doubles, they may get redshirted. But this team goes, I mean, we're going to have guys sitting the bench that would be playing, top of the lineup at other places. They're so deep. I think they're 9, 10 deep, 13 plus. Carpico might be the last one, and he's still well over 13 on this team. It's ridiculous how much talent they have on this Ohio State roster.
Yeah, maybe this is Ty's year. Maybe this is it. By the way, Purdue lost 4-3 to Cornell at home last week. So I didn't know that about the player that left, but it seems like they still have a very good team. So Jeff appears to have built something pretty good there. So well done. Also shout out to Dominic Muller, legend. He is running a PTT the week of All-Americans, which is smart because unfortunately or fortunately, some of your players qualify and some don't. If they don't, keep them at home and get them the matches that they need. I'm very excited to partner with Old Dominion and Dom. But again, I will agree with you. I'm taking Ohio State to advance and actually might take them to win the tournament. But that's a bold call. Next one, really, really good one here. This might be my favorite on the men's side. NC State, Tennessee, Texas A&M, and Duke.
Yeah, this is from here down. Like once we got those top 6 out of the way, from here down, everything except for one region, I think, gets super, super interesting. And this is the one that starts it off. What a blockbuster region we have here. Your friends and mine at Tennessee, especially Matt Lucas there, will have fun with the fact that I just absolutely poo-pooed on them all year last year as they continued to beat everybody. And Ian Cruz did me in week after week. It's a good team. NC State, the host, clearly not the favorite coming in. They knocked off Michigan 4-1. No Borisuk, but it was tight across the board. They didn't look great, I'll say. Duke, you got Cooper Williams, Pedro Rodriguez. What you have after that, I don't know. But the team to watch here, and the team I'm going to pick, is Texas A&M. Look, they've got a guy that you know well that I don't know that we see this weekend in Philip Pajonka. I'm going to assume you probably even recruited him, James. A former Tennessee Volunteer, now on the A&M roster, had to sit out last year. I don't know that he's there this weekend. I have been told that he will be playing some college tennis this year. He's up to like one, I don't know what he is now exactly, but was at least up to about 120 in the world in doubles, ATP wise. Has been doing a lot of doubles playing, but I don't think we see him. But we did get to see Marcus Mulder. Marcus Mulder just flew into the country last week for A&M, a highly touted junior. A&M went and played a match at Elon last night just so that they could get a look at him. A&M, that is, they played Elon at Wake Forest. Tony, kind enough to let the A&M guys schedule a match on their courts prior to them playing at NC State Regional this weekend. Mulder wins 0-2 in a match for A&M. Interesting side note to that, the only loss was Frusina 2, Mikhail and Elias Emer's little brother, who plays 2 at Elon, for those that follow the Pro Tour. But I like this A&M team a lot. Frusina over from Auburn. You still got Papa Malamas. You bring Mulder in. You still got everything else there. Boy, I would love if they got Pajonka in. God, lights out for this team. I'll take A&M.
Yeah, I do not believe we'll see Pajonka at kickoff weekend, but I've heard that he will be back in here very soon. With that being said, though, I look at A&M's team, and I didn't actually realize how deep they were. They are Power 6 of 80.84, so they are by UTR a top 10 team. By the way, as well, in 2018 or 19, Tennessee went to NC State for national indoors and actually got out of the region. Actually, that's wrong. It was COVID. There was only 8 teams. They got out of the region, and I know that because I was at home watching on my screen because my daughter was being born. So there's just everything about this region is so good. You have a rivalry between NC State and Duke. You have an SEC rivalry between Tennessee and Texas A&M. I'm going to take A&M. It's a tough one for me, but I'm going to take A&M. I think they, based on that Elon score and based on their lineup, I think they are ready to go. Columbia, Florida, Kentucky, Illinois. Absolute barn burner.
Yeah, another great region. And obviously the headline story here, it has to be Michael Zhang, right? Knocks off Sebastian Korda first round at the Australian Open, plays Corentin Moutet, retires in the 4th set with an injury. I think The Athletic reported that it was some sort of adductor injury. I'm just going to say that the fact that he was that was a Tuesday night here, Wednesday in Australia, and that's pretty much a 24-hour travel back. I don't even know if he's back, but even if he is, the fact that he had to travel and the fact that he retired injured, I don't think bodes well for the odds of seeing him play. And if he's not in the lineup, and there's a lot of new faces with losing guys like Hashimoto and Westfall off of this team for Columbia, it's a tough ask. Illinois, that's their first day match. Very, very good team with everybody they've brought in. They've got some top newcomers. Don't know if Jones is playing, but we have seen Gilly. Obviously, we've seen Gabriel DeBrew. Just too good there, I think, for Columbia. But the match that I'm gonna be more intrigued to see is Kentucky. That's the team I'm picking to come out of this region. Kentucky brings the Arsenault brothers in. Nicholas Arsenault going to be playing probably 2 behind Guibido at 1. Everybody else, outside of Arsenault, they're all veterans now that they've got. They got Ludit, they got Eli Stevenson, they got Jaden Weeks, they got Charlie Cosnay. I mean, Cosnay, we were talking about being one of the best 4s in the country at Oklahoma State NCAA 2 years ago, and he's now 6 in this lineup. A ridiculous lineup for this Kentucky team. Should they have everyone healthy, I have to go with the Wildcats.
I'm taking them as well. I will say as well, I think you've got 4 top 30 teams in this region. Florida, some big guys on that team. I've heard they wanted to play indoors. Illinois, obviously a very good indoor team. I would be shocked if we see Michael Zhang. I don't think that flying across the world in, from 100 degrees to then go playing indoors is necessarily sensible. But maybe he will. I know he's obviously going to complete his degree. He's going to finish out the season with Columbia. Absolutely love that. All these rumblings about this or that. Actually, some journalists out there saying some ridiculous stuff, which kind of annoyed me a little bit. But it is what it is. I'm taking Kentucky to advance, and I actually think Kentucky might be a final sight team. San Diego, Princeton, Miami, and Arizona State. Good one.
Yeah, another interesting region. Before I get there, one last point on that last region. Watch Florida. They didn't play their top two, but their number one, what they did play at one in their last match was Lorenzo Claveri, who they just brought in. He's a one and done guy. They took a year off of tennis, was a great player prior. I think he's 26 years old now, but he's there for 1 year at Florida. This is hey, let's try to make a push this year, get things going. So that'll be interesting to watch as well if you're looking for things to watch. On to that San Diego region, super intrigued. I think San Diego comes out, but it's not the most comfortable of regions for them. Arizona State could be tricky. I just think there's too much strength on strength here for San Diego. You got Ali Tarbert at the top, Bor Artnak for Arizona State. Arizona State went the portal route here, and I would say presumably NIL along with it, but they bring in a bunch of transfers and some good names on this team for Arizona State that could make that first day match interesting. You still got Bondaz. You bring Yelani Sarr over from South Carolina, Villard from Florida, Matsuoka from Middle Tennessee. It's a good bunch of pickups for Coach Matt Hill there, but I think too much. The more intriguing match to me, should we see it, is Princeton. Princeton has a great team this year. They're actually potentially the favorite. Hard to believe that when you're talking about a Michael Zhang Columbia team, but based on things that happened in the fall and what we've seen up to this point, that team is rock solid. You've still got Inchaspe and Needwin Johnson at the top. Sebastian Seek back this year. They got Ardilla in there. This is a great Princeton team. I look for them to be frisky with San Diego, but San Diego still comes out.
Agree. San Diego at home, I believe, is a force. I've witnessed them a couple times. They are loud. They have a real culture, player-led, obviously, by Oliver Tarvett, who's a 14.6 UTR. I think San Diego comes out of there. I have to give a shout out to a great friend, Alex Santos at Miami. I think he's doing a tremendous job. I think he's a great person. And he sent me some gear recently, which I repped on the national title game. Unfortunately, though, Alex Signetti was too good. By the way, Signetti said after they won the national championship that tomorrow was going to be an off day and we will get back to work on Wednesday. Absolutely love it. Next one, Mississippi State, Auburn, Alabama, Santa Clara. What do you think?
I'm just glad that the Bulldogs, obviously even though Trevor's long gone from there, still a devout Mississippi State fan. They don't make this one too hard on me to pick them. I think Auburn could be frisky, but this is the year for the Bulldogs. They made the final sight last year, had 7 match points against Stanford in that quarterfinal match and lost it, unfortunately. But it's a team very worthy of final sight or better. They bring back, most of that team, I think, other than Milanovic. You still got Benito and Pete playing doubles. They were the number one team last year. They've lost their last couple, so that's an interesting thing for me to watch. They dropped dubs as did Pete and Benito at Indiana and at Illinois, but they've had because they have the veteran team. Matt Roberts does what he does when he has veteran teams, like he did back in the Nuno days in their senior year. You schedule everything you can get early, and so they go on the road to some tough places. They went to SMU, they went to Illinois, they've gone to Indiana now. They've come out, they've gotten pushed in every one of those matches and just turned it on. For the first 90 minutes, haven't been great, and then they just turn it on and find a way. They're too good for the region. Auburn, I think, could be, a little bit frisky and is a team that could push them in doubles given the struggles they've had to start the year in doubles. But the singles lineup, just too good for Mississippi State.
By the way, I think George Husak was the head coach at Santa Clara. So nice to see that he has joined a pod there with his friends from back in the day. I think Mississippi State are going to advance. I think you need to look out for Alabama this year. I think they will be quite good, but also Auburn. Big match there. New coaching staff. Well, assistant. I think they've got some good players, and I think you're going to see them advance in the postseason. So Mississippi State to advance in a heavily SEC region there. Very good one here. Very, very good one. We have 4 left. Arizona, Florida State, Pepperdine, and the LSU Tigers.
Yeah, how about the LSU Tigers? That's what makes this region super. This is a great region all the way around. A little bit spoiled by the fact that Arizona and Florida State played last night, and Arizona State actually put a beat down on them. Florida State took doubles, but then, 4 really fast, easy, straight set wins for Arizona there. But a team Pepperdine that I have been high on. I was high on last year. The young guys on that team, all such good players, and they bring that all back. And Maxie Homburg, who took the fall off, is now back as well. I love this Pepperdine team. So I'd like to see that. I would like to see, given that we just saw Florida State take their shot at Arizona and fall woefully short, I'd like to see Pepperdine make it through there to get their shot at it. But I don't know if it's going to be Arizona or not. LSU bringing in Eric Aratunian this year. They have got a serious lineup. Certainly on paper, you look at those UTRs, they're great. And Aratunian is playing one for them. They come up with a win over Clemson, who's a very up-and-coming team. They're definitely a top 25 team that I had kind of called out on one of our pods that I do elsewhere prior to that match. That just made me look good. I like this LSU team a lot. I think it's asking a bit much for them to knock off Arizona. It could happen, but when your strength is going to be Aratunian at the top and you're facing Jay Friend, you're asking a little much for a new guy to come in and knock off Jay Friend. I'm going to stick with the Wildcats, but I absolutely love everything about this region. All 4 teams, every match should be a good match here this weekend.
Well, UTR's hope is that all 4 of these teams advance. Why? Because all 4 host BTT events. So thank you, gentlemen. Exceptional partnership. We appreciate everything you are all doing. Arizona at home are a force. I think they advance. LSU on paper have a top 10 team. I think we will see their new January freshman, Mr. Olaf Pichkowski, this weekend. But I think the Arizona at home are just very good. They're in sync. I was shocked to see some of the scores against Florida State, which also have a very good team. I think they move on.
If we see Pichkowski, that makes it super interesting, James. We haven't seen him yet, which is what I had checked. But boy, oh boy, if they've got he and Aratunian both, that's going to make it fun.
Yep, he's in. You will see him this weekend. So very exciting region for sure. Cal, UCF, USC, Oklahoma.
A region where the host might be 4th favorite. Like, it's tight, but I think Oklahoma, to me, is the favorite in this region, and they are the 4 seed in the region. UCF, obviously, everything that Coach Burgess did last year, crazy knocking off, Ohio State, TCU. The things that they did were unbelievable last year, and they're just building and bringing a kid like Pedro Rodriguez this year. Great team there. USC, the only thing that, and we at least got to see USC play San Diego. the only thing that I knock USC for at this point in the season is it's early. And just like you have the January freshman thing and the teams need to gel, they've got a bunch of new guys on the team, and just bringing Max Ekstead, one of the top juniors, to this team. It's a very, very good USC team. Cal just lost when you start with losing Carl Emil Overbeck and then a host of other guys on the team. It's tough. It's not a super deep team for Cal. I'm going to say Oklahoma upsets them day one and then comes through, but I'm not going to be shocked. Honestly, I'd be shocked if Cal came through. I wouldn't be totally shocked if anybody else came through, but I'll stick with Oklahoma here.
I'm really struggling here. I'm really struggling. I'll say this. The next time you see Chris Quinta coaching, just watch him. He is an absolute master of coaching the game of tennis. He goes point by point. He's seeing different things. He's walking here. He's walking there. He believes in his strategy. I think he's a great coach. I am going to take one thing that's huge in this region, I think, is preparation. How was everyone's preparation? You have two teams flying across the country. You have Orlando to San Francisco. I mean, you could get to Europe quicker than that. So I wonder about the preparation. I'm actually going to take the hosts. I'm going to take Cal. I think they do a very good job. I think they are at home. I think they have a good team. They are also hosting a PTT coming up here in the next couple weeks. They have a gap in their schedule right after National Indoors, and they're partnering with Berkeley Tennis Club. Great idea, very smart coaching from both of them. Excellent pod. I'm taking Cal. South Carolina, Harvard, Michigan, Clemson. It has just kicked off. What do you think?
Yeah, this is a great region, 4 good teams, a really weird start to the year for Harvard. They've dropped matches to Memphis and Middle Tennessee, so you can't like the form there. What I don't know, like this South Carolina Clemson match that is just getting going, is an absolute barn burner. South Carolina comes up with a big 4-3 road win at Columbia. I don't know what to make of it. It was obviously a Michael Zangless Columbia team. So was that just too, slightly above average, but good teams doing battle, or was it a great match? I don't know. Until I see more, I'm going to tend to lean towards the former and think, I don't know that South Carolina's that great. Michael Zhang, not on the Columbia team, I don't think is that great. I actually like Clemson in the opener against South Carolina, but the team that's got me intrigued the most is Michigan State. They played Kentucky already, so no reason to sit your guys, and there was no Thanos and no Vuk Radinovic in that match. If they have Thanos and Vuk, I take Michigan State. That's not the match until the afternoon. So I don't know the answer as to whether those guys are playing. I reached out for an inquiry and got no response, which to me means bad news. So wow. when you don't respond to me, and you normally do, I just feel like, that's not good. So I'm not sure we see them. But so I will just say this: I don't think South Carolina comes out. If it's a full Michigan State team, I take them. If it's not a full Michigan State team, I take Clemson.
Doubles is 1-0, 2-0. Clemson are up a break, and 1-0. I'm taking Clemson. I think they're going to come out of that region. By the way, is that region indoors or outdoors?
It's indoors. Not super fast courts indoors at South Carolina anyway, but it is indoors.
Yep. I'm taking Clemson. I think they come out. Sorry, Josh. Don't be mad at me. If you come out, well done. Hope we can still be friends. UCLA, UC Santa Barbara, Pacific, New Mexico. Last one.
Yeah, this is the last one that we get. We finally get it back to an easy one. I think an easy one. UCLA comes out of here. We had so many tough regions. UCLA, nobody really wanted to go there because of all the talent they had. Kalen Bagoon ends up leaving. It leaves them a little short on depth. The problem here for everybody else in the region, with UCSB being the second best team in the region, is their strength is right at the top in Dominique Roland, and you've got the strength of the lineup at the top. I mean, the top 3 for sure. You got Van Lobensel's, you got Spencer Johnson. That UCLA lineup at the top is just really, really good. Rudy Kwan. Shout out to your guy, Robin Goodman at Pacific. Love Robin. But, tough for them. Thiago Silva, their top player, a stud, leaving last year and heading elsewhere. That's just going to be a tall ask for them. But what could be a really good match between UCSB and Pacific on day one. UCLA, though, just too good for the region. They come out.
Shout out UCLA sending their whole team to the Newport Beach PTT. By the way, Chris, just so you know, Robin has left Pacific. He is now the associate head women's tennis coach at Tennessee.
I saw that, and what happened? Marin, where did Marin go?
Matthias is now I don't know his official title, but Matthias is at legendary Farm and Forge Club in Nashville. Unbelievable doing over there.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Anyway, Chris, I do not have time to keep going, unfortunately. I really appreciate your time. You are an expert in this field. You know exactly what you're doing. Absolutely love the shirt. Keep doing it. Thank you from everyone at UTR. We appreciate your support.
Great. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. And I love doing this stuff, James. So anytime for you, buddy.
Have a great day.
You too.